All right. Welcome back. Or, yeah, let's do welcome back. This is my second time doing a live stream match talk through from a previous match that I've done. Just going through the footage, talking through what was interesting. Honestly, so spoiler alert, this match actually went pretty well for me. So there really may not be all that much to say, certainly negative wise. Mostly just recognition of really things that went well. So I will talk about those as we get to them. I'm still, one thing I can't quite control is the audio level, so I'm trying to have my talking be audible over the noise from the video and the shooting, but we'll see. I can't really hear it as it goes, but the sliders look good, so hey, we'll try it. And it went well last time, so if you haven't watched that one, it was the January 2020 Sir Walter match that I did that with. So this was an 8-stage club match this past weekend, and this was the first stage of the day, as is typical with my match videos. You can watch this whole match video on its own on YouTube, but I will start with the first-person video. Trick with this was just not trying to go too fast. You weren't going to win it right there, but you could wreck. Overshot that position a little bit. You can see I had to lean back to get that target, but really no big deal. Catch that guy. You could see that guy from this last position, and I really kind of wanted to take him from that last magazine, but obviously that would have meant shooting to 10 with 6 steel in the mag, which was just kind of suicidal. So I just kind of adjusted the plan for risk and shot that one on the move. Basically because I had to, just to have the stage plan that would give me the best chance of having, an extra makeup shot. Now I only ended up needing one, but that was a major plan adjustment. You can kind of see between those two barrels at the top of the frame. If I'd just taken a half step back, I could have seen that target from there, but I didn't have the rounds. So so here, notice a nice even consistency. I'm not trying to speed up. I'm not trying to get out in a hurry. I'm taking my time there. And then the goal was just reload the gun and get to the next position. But really the cue there was just don't blow it all right here. It's so easy to want to get out of position especially when you're drawing to a steel target, then you have to move, or you're shooting an array of them and you want to speed up as you go. So I just kept it real as smooth as I could, just consistent, just seeing the same sight picture come back down. I wasn't shooting on a cadence. That was not the goal. That was just the result. And so that was just the seeing the same sight picture had the result of having the same cadence throughout. And you can see I let my sights settle a little bit on the first one because I knew if I started whiffing, it would just be downhill from there. You can see I recognized the target. I have to shift a little bit back, but I transitioned to the target that I could see and shot that one, and then sort of shifted my shoulders as I was shooting so that I would be ready for the last target in that array. So just move while I reload, come to here, keep the gun up. It really wasn't too bad. Get 2 alphas on that guy, and then that one miss on the steel, I called it. As soon as it went off, I knew that the sight just hadn't come quite back down. It was just a little high, and I just went right back to it. Here again, not trying to rush through or speed up. You go back and watch my videos from 2-3 years ago where I'm shooting a plate rack, and it'll be pop 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 pop, and I'm speeding up because I feel like I'm getting into a rhythm, and then of course I start missing. This wasn't that. I called it as it happened, and just went back to it and just shot another one. Didn't let it fluster me. And then we'll just back up. So what I'm talking about here with backing up for that one target. So shoot that guy, and I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit further than I want to be, but I sort of shift my shoulders. I shoot the guy I can see, and then by the time it's time to shoot that guy, he comes into view. But as I'm transitioning over, you can see I was planning to take this array left to right, but I just slightly overshot the position. So rather than stopping and strictly adhering to my plan, I sort of backed off, went for the target I could see, and then set up for that one as I was shooting it. Easy peasy. And then, yeah, I just kept the gun up. Didn't try and move too much, just enough to see the A zone. And then did the reload, come to this last position. So, yeah, 3 Charlies, 15 Alpha on the paper. Quite happy with that. Yeah, you can barely even tell I'm doing it. Shifting my shoulders there, but that's what you got to do sometimes. I do have the chat open over on one tab, so if you're watching live and you have some questions, feel free to ask. So this was, it's funny, that last stage was like I said, I didn't have a lot of options with as far as round counts. And one of the comments that I've gotten on this match video is that it wasn't a very production friendly match setup, and it definitely wasn't. There's another stage you'll see later where I'm basically shooting 15 or 16 rounds from one position, moving to another position and shooting 15 or 16 rounds. But there's nothing you can do about that. You know, the stages are what they are. And so like this stage in particular, you had these 2 paper targets, a full 6-plate steel rack, and then 2 more paper targets, all available from this front shooting box. And then you could move back and shoot some other stuff. And I didn't try and complicate it. I just did a standing reload, shot, and got out of there. Now the one bummer, you can see I overlay the text a little bit. So just got a slightly, and you'll see this in the third person video, just muffed the draw a little bit, and just ended up pulling the shots low left, which, I mean, these were pretty sporty 15, 20 yard targets, something like that. They were not close. So, you know, I should have called it and made it up, but they were still on the paper, so it's okay. One of 3 deltas for the day. I'll point out all 3 as I get to them because they all bother me. So yeah, transition past the plate rack, just shoot the paper for now. Reload and just shoot the plate rack in one unbroken string. Reload while moving backwards and then turn. I just prefer it that way. Shoot these, you know, even though I'm just been in accuracy mode, shoot these. I mean, these are only 7-yard targets or so. So, you know, don't take too long. Actually, that one, I came back to it because I shot it pretty quick, and I could just see in my peripheral view, it looked like I only had 1 hit on it, but it was the 2 shots were actually keyholed right next to each other. So, that was pretty cool. But that's why I went back to it. I was like, oh, that doesn't look right. Caught it out of the corner of my eye. When targets are that close, oh yeah, there you see the flub on the draw. When targets are that close, it's hard not to see the holes if you're shooting target focus, which I was. Yeah, so load backing up and then just turn. And then when I'm coming around here, all I got to do is get in the box, shoot, keep the gun up. This one, gun up. I actually went frame by frame, and it was not a foot fault, but it was certainly close. I was definitely, you know, following sort of my, you know, listening to my feet, and when I felt that back foot come up, I shot those first 2 shots. But yeah, so you can see here, you know, this first stage, there was a middle shooting box. I don't know if you can really see it here. So in theory, you know, you had these 3 that I went to. There was a 4th one that I just skipped. That was right in the middle, about where the cameraman is standing right now. And it just, you know, you could have broken it up or made it more complicated, but I just didn't. There was no point. You know, you had, what is this, 14 rounds from one position? Just draw, do the standing reload, and get out of there. And, you know, I ended up, you know, eking out a stage win, which isn't, you know, isn't always a sign of success, but when it comes down to stage planning, usually it's an okay indicator that you at least had something going right for you. And in fact, that stage that we'll get to later, where it was very similar, I think I won that one by like 10%. So yeah, don't complicate it. Just draw the gun, shoot the targets, move. And I used to, have a bad habit of trying to rush the last shot on steel coming out of position. Didn't do that. yeah, so this was, definitely growth for me. I was quite happy with that result. This stage, nothing too interesting here. In the middle, I end up shooting a mag of 4. So I shoot basically reload, shoot 4 rounds, and reload again. Again, there were other ways I could have split it up to avoid that, but the way I was looking at it, the way I broke it down, it made everything else simpler in life. I had more rounds elsewhere to shoot makeups, and so I'm sure there were other plans where you could do it with one less reload, but it didn't seem worth it to me. The simplicity was its own reward. So step in here, and I was really aiming in for A's on those head boxes. I got 3 of the 4 A's, which I was quite happy with. So yeah, that's the mag of 4. I got a long move, so I just reload, shoot that. This becomes a mag of 8, and that makes this a mag of 7. So I had plenty of makeup shots. Not that I was going recklessly fast on these, but it was nice to have those makeups. The other plans involved shooting to 9 there, so it would have been at slide lock potentially. So knowing I had plenty of makeup rounds there let me be just a little bit more aggressive. Little drop, step out of position there, gun up, looking through the mesh. Yeah, last shot. So, yeah, I don't know if you can see it in the first person view as well. So, yeah, I'm looking right here. I'm looking at the spot I want to go to. Reload is pretty much done at this point. I move to there, and the gun you can see is coming up. How do I step by frame? That's not it. Ooh, that's definitely not it. Okay, we'll just do this. And so gun is sort of coming up as I'm looking through the mesh at it as I'm coming into position. So I'm not sort of getting there and then bringing the gun up. It's as I'm settling in, gun is coming up, grip is established. As soon as I can take that shot, I do. And then this top target, I ended up putting 2 alphas right on the line, which is nice. Snuck them in. Wasn't trying to be a hero or anything, but there was enough A zone there that it was very doable to get both alphas. Flub that reload, but that'll be a bit of a pattern for the day. In fact, actually, you'll see leaving this back left position, I end up going to grab a mag and it just falls straight on the ground. So that reload went well, but then coming out here, yep, you can see I flopped that one out. I'd go to grab it, didn't go, and I just had to grab the next one. So bad reloads, definitely. So it's something I'm working on going into the South Carolina section match in 3 weeks. But that was a big takeaway. But other than that, I was very happy with that stage. This one, pretty good classifier. Shot a couple too many Charlies here to have a really good classifier, but still 92%, not bad. Nothing really fancy here. Some guys took this back target from that right side. It didn't really seem like it gained you anything. And it sort of let me just focus on getting the near guy. Draw with the step was nice. Reload was good, coming to position with the gun up. Yeah, nothing really radical there. I guess, so, here leading, it's like leading with the gun foot as I'm drawing. So the gun is kind of in the air, or the foot's kind of in the air. But I'm not like trying to push hard out of position. I'm just kind of moving, almost like easing out of position, because it really is only one step. So I want to get the foot moving as I get the gun moving, and then when that foot hits the ground, I'm ready to shoot that first target, and I sort of carry my momentum through. This one was interesting. So I had a mic on this stage, and I can't describe it. So I'll let it play, and then we'll talk about it. Jam there, didn't fully cycle. Very happy with that recovery. Not thinking about the jam, just got it fixed, got it back to... Yeah, anyway, the issue was just, it was just a round that I just didn't quite get enough powder to cycle the gun. So, probably just just got jostled in loading. Yeah, it's just one of those things, when you load your own ammo, it just happens. But, I had to make sure to dump the gun over, turn it over enough so the case would get out. So, I basically ended up introducing a minor double feed when I racked it the first time, because you can see I'm kind of racking it without turning it over. And then gets that second round chamber, but didn't have to do anything crazy. Just turn it over, jiggle it, and just let everything roll out. But what was interesting here is, what I find interesting is I basically had another issue where I just drew to the wrong spot, and so I ended up shooting Delta Mike on this target. At the time, I can't really explain it, but at the time I had the weirdest sensation that it was a slight hang fire. Watching the video in slow motion, because you can actually see, I wish I could step frame by frame, but basically you can see I actually start to transition the gun before the second shot goes off, which I don't tend to do a lot. Like, I tend to break the shot and then move it. So the fact that the second shot broke, wherever that light round went, it was probably into the dirt back here, but I'd already started moving the gun. Actually, let me see. Let me see if we can do like quarter speed. Might be able to see it. Ooh, that's real slow. Wait for it. So gun comes up. Bad trigger pull. Yeah, so you can see I'm already starting to move the gun. Brass barely dribbles out. Bang. Gun starts to move, and then the shot goes there. Like I said, it's not like the hammer dropped and it was a literal hang fire. So, I don't know. It's just one of those subjective things. But, yeah, it was just interesting. Just, one of those things that happens. Didn't, it's not going to change my practice too terribly much. All right. Why is this speed? There we go. But yeah, just one of those interesting things that happens from time to time. But the fact that I did just get back on it and just clean this steel without kind of going crazy, trying to speed up or anything, just fix it, get back to the plan. You never like to have a Delta mic, but didn't let it ruin the rest of the stage. So you could take these targets from back here or further up squatting. It was about 30 yards from back here. It was about 20 yards if you took them from up front. Just trying to combine all the positions, reload. And then just squat, kind of shoot through this opening. You could get closer, obviously, but by shooting over the barrel, I save, going forward a few steps. And this was one of that target back there was the other Delta. That was the third Delta for the day. Not stoked about it. Just over transitioned a little too hard on it, but otherwise 3 Charlies for the rest of the stage. Pretty good points. Not a, this was one of those kind of long distance, high risk stages where there were all kinds of things that could go wrong. The Texas Star could get away from you. These plates could you could waste a lot of ammo on these plates. You can see I'm really letting my sights settle because I know I only have 2 makeup shots, and I used one of them on the Star. Because I'm shooting 9 rounds. My plan was to shoot 9 rounds here, so I used one of my makeups on the Star. So I finished the gun with 1 bullet, or I finished the magazine with 1 bullet. But I'm kind of really letting the sights settle, pop. Not trying to drive them too hard, just letting them sort of ride into the target, settle, pull the trigger. Just because there's so much disaster factor here. The stage could have just gone so terribly wrong. Even just things like shooting these long distance targets. They were, that far one was 2 Alpha, but then it just transitioned over to this guy, and it ended up being, I think, either Alpha Delta or Charlie Delta. Just, not bad trigger pulling, just bad indexing. The sights just didn't, I just over transitioned. But then just get your alphas here. Don't try and rush it. Let my sights settle there too. It would have been so easy to come in hot and over transition onto that no shoot. So I really let it settle just because this was, there's just so many things that could go wrong on this stage. Got my 2 alphas on that headshot. Again, happy about that. Really working on both on steal and headshot, sort of aim small, miss small. That was nice. Yeah, just get out alive. Not trying to win this stage. Although, it ended up, I got 99% of the stage points, which is good enough. Some people did choose to shoot the paper from up close. Squatting, basically, I would have had to stick another reload just to have, it would have been 2 paper and 4 steel. So it would have been 8 rounds. Not too bad. But I felt like the having to squat and shoot at a 20-yard target was probably no faster. It was almost certainly not going to be faster. It might be the same speed, but it was almost certainly not going to be faster than just standing, nice, equal balance, and shooting a 30-yard target, which I'm plenty comfortable with. The gun can do it. The ammo can do it. And so it was just a bit of a risk mitigation thing. Could it have been a little bit faster? Maybe. But it didn't seem like it would be that much of a win, and it seemed like it could be a lot slower if I kind of got in a bad position. And I mean, I'm only shooting 9mm, but it's still, when you're in a kind of awkward squat, it can push you around a little bit. And so it just, anytime you're in a compromised position, unless it's a clear advantage, I just decided to skip it. So I thought that was I don't know if that was meant to be a realistic option for the stage, but I was happy to take it. So we'll let it play. This stage, again, it was basically, you could see almost everything from 2 positions. I kind of turned it into 4, but obviously you can see all those plates I just shot pretty much from this position as well. Come to here, you can see 9 on the side of the barrel. Basically a standing reload. Take like 1 little step to see that guy, and then 3 more rounds. And yeah, stage win by 11%. So this was one where, I could have overcomplicated it, but it's basically just come to this spot, shoot 6 rounds, but then that made this position 8, so that was 14. So you're basically shooting 14 from one side of the stage. Didn't go deep enough into that corner, had to shimmy a little bit, but that's okay. Shoot 9, do basically a standing reload, which, there again, reloads are going to be a focus of my practice, but, there really wasn't anything terribly interesting you could do here. The targets were all far enough away, high enough risk that they weren't really worth trying to be aggressive on. Like this left side, coming in on this left side, it's like I step in. I mean, that was a 15-ish yard target, 10 to 15, something like that. It wasn't definitely not close enough to shoot on the move, and there wasn't enough space for it to really make sense to be worth it. And so I just, come in, shoot 2, 4, 6. You can see here, this one plate you basically could only see from the middle of the shooting area. So you couldn't see that if you went all the way deep into the corner. And so I just said, okay, what else, step in, take that guy. What else can I get from there to chop down the other mag to B8? And then just shoot it. Don't try and overcomplicate it. Just shoot it straight up. Yeah, I didn't have my grips. That first shot was a little bit wild, shot of makeup, but it ended up being 3 alpha. And then again on this side, something about that first shot I didn't quite trust. Shot it, ended up being 3 alpha as well, but hey, I'll take it. Yeah, again, I mean, not, just going 1 for 1 on the steal, it just makes life so much easier. You just, to match like this where they really love these little plates, you can just dig yourself into such a hole going to war with any given plate. And I very much did not want to do that. And so just going 1 for 1 as much as possible was quite bueno. This is a really interesting one. I actually like this. I don't see cars a lot in USPSA, but for good reason, kind of. Like, you can see somebody shot the car right in front of me. But here again, it was, it really wasn't too complex of a stage. It was kind of just 4 positions. You can just kind of see, you can kind of see what you can see from each spot. And you just go there, shoot the stuff, reload, step to the next spot. So, definitely not the most exciting stage, but certainly technically challenging. Like the shot difficulty was varied, the target height is varied. So it was technically interesting shooting, even if the positions and the actual stage challenges weren't. You just had to get to the right spot. And I honestly don't know to this day what was going on with that popper. I just had this feeling as I was shooting that last target. I was like, yeah, just go for it. Like, you can hit it. Like, you don't need to confirm your sights. Just go for it. And so I just transitioned the gun over and just I can't even say I saw my sights. It's just some part of the lizard brain like knew that the sights were on that popper, and so I just whacked it. And I was ready to send another one. Like, you can see, I don't pull the gun in immediately because I'm not that confident that I'm going to hit it. But it's just something. I just felt like, yep, this is going to go. And when I heard the ding and saw it fall down, I was like, oh, okay, well, sometimes you get lucky. So, yeah, like I said, the van thing was actually pretty interesting. If nothing else, I mean, the start position was a little unusual. Sometimes you might see a starting position sitting in a folding chair or something, but even just how to get out of the van, do you lead with your foot and do like a 270, or do you kind of step out and kind of pivot on your back heel? It was, I don't know, it was interesting. It was not your typical challenge. If I never start another stage in a folding chair at a card table again, it'll be too soon. But the other thing that was kind of interesting is the way the fault lines were drawn. There was a reasonable case for actually trying to close the door as you got out, basically just because it gave you more room. You didn't have to shoot kind of through the crook of the door here. But I found at least for someone of my height, the way it was, like, it wasn't that big of a deal. If I'd been shorter, it probably would have been advantageous. And so it sort of gave that ability, I think. But as it was, I was able to just kind of get a solid shoulder width stance and just shoot through the hole. And as you can see, I actually back out a little bit on that last target. Yeah, and then grab the gun and load it, which again just always messes things up a little bit, drags the hit factor down. And so I was just making a real effort to get points, because I knew this wasn't going to be a super high hit factor stage. I mean, it's a lot of targets, sure, but there's a lot of stuff to do and movement to make, and loading the gun always drags things down a little bit. So just like I said, trying to get my alphas. I miss Classifier. Like, after going so well on steel, fumbled the reload again. And then, I didn't really speed up on the steel. That last shot, it actually didn't, if anything, I didn't let the gun fall back down. I ended up shooting over the target. So, decent recovery, but not exactly Classifier I was hoping for. I mean, it's a decent score given, once again, this reload issue. So I actually ended up, I don't know if you could see it, I actually pull it out of the pouch and lose my grip on it a little bit and trap it between my body, and then have to spin it up into the gun. So yeah, I'm literally turning it around in my hand, sticking it in upside down. Not what I wanted at all. And then, on top of that, the popper, just the little whiff on the popper, but I was happy with the execution or the recovery, I suppose. But obviously the score was not what I would hope it to be. So yeah, main takeaway from this match is aiming at the top of the blade, making precise shots on headshots and steel really is working. So this was 2 alpha on this target, and then this one was Alpha Charlie, and the Charlie was strung horizontally, so it was just on the left side. So I think I just started to move a little too fast and just tracked the gun with me. So those were the main high points. But then, yeah, the issue that just dogged me all day was just reloads, mostly from the second and third pouch. But I did have this bad one from the first pouch, which sucked. But yeah, so feeling good about things. Not sure there's really much else to say. I did end up winning the match, at least in production, which, take that for what it's worth. But it was a pretty good day. Happy with the performance overall. Just had that one thing to take away. I'm not seeing a couple people live on the stream. I'm not seeing any questions. I'll hang on for maybe a couple more minute or two if anybody has any questions, and we can talk about things. But otherwise, yeah, that's the match. Hopefully the talk through was helpful. Ugh, that draw. Let's watch one of the stages I really was happy with. Yeah, more reload problems. Hey, at least I'm consistent. Alright, well, it's probably as good a place as any to wrap it up. Thanks for watching.